Welcome to the Luminary by AIESEC in SLIIT, where we interview some of the best Sri Lankan unique personalities for you to get inspired and motivated by going through their life stories and experiences. Now here's your host, Mr.Trevin Hannibal.
Alright, hello everyone, welcome to Luminary, and as you guys know, Luminary is organized by AIESEC, and as you guys know, in our lineup we bring in celebrities in Sri Lanka, and in our lineup today we have an extraordinary character, I could say. If you talk about Elon Musk of SpaceX, and people like Jack Ma of Alibaba, and Richard Branson of Virgin Group, in Sri Lanka we cannot forget the name of Kishu Gomes. So we have Mr. Kishu Gomes with us. It is a pleasure to have you, sir. And let's start with, how are you doing?
I am doing very well, Hannibal. It's great to see you after several, is it couple of years, probably. Yes, you're at that end. I'm still here, doing very well, and thank you so much, for the introduction. I don't know whether I really deserve the kind of lines you used, but happy to be part of this.
So basically, how it works is it's going to be a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and afterwards, it's going to be around 45 to 50 minutes. That's the time duration that we are looking at. So let's start from the very beginning. I would like to ask you about your school days. Of course, everyone is so proud of their alma mater. So if you can brief us about your school days and the skills and the competencies that you collected there, and how things, how things shaped up over there to make you who you are today. Can you just brief us on that?
No, thank you for that question. Sounds somewhat conventional, but it all depends on what answer you have. And a lot of people, Hannibal, say that school time is their best time, and I totally go against that. One can say that when you do not understand the world when you are very young, maybe up to about 6th grade or 7th grade, until such time you are able to comprehend things, you can take school life very lightly, and you can enjoy that time. Beyond that, when you start understanding how challenging the world is, if one can honestly say that school time is their best time, I have an issue with it. So for me, school time for a person who's actually serious about encountering the challenges to become victorious, to become successful, can't be the best time. And that's the kind of sentiment I had. I just wanted to get to that point. So for me, while when I was very small, I had a lot of talents which received a lot of recognition and love and admiration. Starting from singing to athletics is my first love even today. I was excelling in a few areas. I could draw paintings or do paintings, and so I had a few talents.
Like what were some things like getting first in class, becoming a prefect? These are the things that people sometimes ponder upon. What's
Sure.
your case?
Right. No, so I have never been the first in the class, the second in the class, the third in the class. I was an average student, to be very honest with you. But together with that, since I had a lot of other talents, I was a star, right from my school days. I was admired to be someone, who's well differentiated. So that mix, placed me in a position where I realized during very early stages that recognition is all about living. And if one has no recognition and admiration and respect for who you are and what you do and what you achieve on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, what is life?
Yeah.
Right? So it is that thought that got into me, and it is that thought that drove me forward to go for something other people couldn't easily achieve, to be able to outperform others, to do something different, to be noticed by others. So that was my school days experience. So I said I was an average student, but having said that, I must say that I had very good O-level results, and I then got into math stream for my A-levels, and I passed advanced level. And with my sports background, being the former national hurdle champion and Colombo district champion, and being an athletic coach during my school days, not officially but unofficially, because I had the perfect technique for hurdles, which no one else in Sri Lanka had at that point of time. So it was a lot of hard work to be able to, get into that rhythm.
If you can, what was the school that you attended to, Mr. Gomes?
I went to Prince of Wales, Morotua. Reason being that 4 Gomes generations went to that school, and
it's one of the oldest and very popular. I would say it has a very remarkable history, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. So actually, I was brought up lately by my Bappa, my father's younger brother, and he didn't move me to go to any other school other than Prince of Wales, while he had the ability to put me into any school in Sri Lanka, because he was an academic. He later became the principal of Royal, but he was he was at a much higher level in terms of his academic qualification. He became a principal to become the principal of his own school, and then once you become a principal, the politicians decide where you should work. So that's why he ended up. Otherwise, he headed universities in the UK and in Nigeria, and before he became a principal, he was a senior director of the education ministry. So he's the person, and he was number one psychology lecturer in Sri Lanka. He used to go around all the universities to do psychology.
Right.
So I was brought up by him, and that is why I went to the school I went to, and so that was it.
This is going. Thanks for that. SLIIT Global Education, who is the official title partner.
SLIIT Global Education is established for students who are interested in venturing past the higher education opportunities in Sri Lanka to explore avenues in countries such as Australia, Canada, UK, USA, Germany, and France. They have a network of 30 plus universities that they collaborate with to provide students with the best learning and holistic university experience. You can also avail exclusive scholarship schemes, especially if you are a student or alumnus of SLIIT. SLIIT Global Education also provides exceptional academic counseling services for undergraduate and postgraduate students tailored to their requirements. They also offer expert visa guidance counseling services and pre-departure training to all their transfer students. If you're considering pursuing your higher education abroad, feel free to give their friendly team a buzz.
And this is an added question to education. Now, I see that you have, you have your MBA, you're a fellow in SIM, and there is a massive amount of qualifications, in your portfolio. Now, if you look at a person who has just completed advanced level, because this discussion that we have is going to be
Yes.
very helpful for a person who wants to decide their career path. So,
Sure.
a person who has just completed A levels, the biggest question in Sri Lanka that they face is, what should be my next step? If it's higher education,
Sure.
what path or what it is all about. Now, whereas in Canada, from high school, you have already decided which path that you're going to. You want to be a sportsman, you got a curriculum for that. You want to be an artist, you got a curriculum for that. You want to do like orchestra, you got a curriculum for that. So a person who likes to do
Yes.
sports is not going to waste time learning economics or
Sure.
business studies, stuff like that, which is going to be a
Yes.
massive contradiction, all in all.
Sure.
So you
Yeah.
have held so many leadership positions in Sri Lanka. How do you, if you were given, a leading position in the Ministry of Education, how do you think you will solve this concern, Mr. Gomez?
No, thank you. Great question. And it's a burning issue even right now in Sri Lanka, while they're having so much so-called reforms being done. The fact remains that we still follow very conventional ways of handling curriculum and things like that. And you just explain what Canada is doing. And not just in the Western world, even within this region, some of the countries have started to basically follow that method. And as you quite rightly said, if you want to be a musician, why do you spend time wasting? Why do you spend time trying to study science to at the end become a musician? Right? It's a waste of time, waste of energy, waste of money, waste of everything, waste of resources. Waste of resources by the government and the entire nation, and that's money for the poor man. So obviously, from a strategic standpoint, there is a huge issue that we need to fix. So having said that, if I became you said the education minister, right? What would I do? I would simply embrace what the Western world is currently doing, and what some of the Asian countries have embraced in the recent past, to get on with a similar philosophy and similar concept and similar policy, so that we would be helping the younger generation to become what they want to become, within the shortest possible time. And in Sri Lanka, a student who get into doing medicine after A levels takes 10 years to become a doctor.
My brother is in
Right?
Karapiti, so I know what you're telling me. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Yeah. So everyone knows it, but no one has done anything about it yet. So that's medicine. That's where the biggest issue is. But look at commerce, look at art. If you go through the public university process, by the time you complete your degree, you are 24, 25. Whereas in a Western country, you took the example of Canada, at the age of 20, you can have the first degree, right? And when you pass out of the uni, there is a path, natural path that you would get into, and then you start, gaining experience, and you become a super performer at the age of 24, 25. Whereas our kids here would still be going to the uni. So it's a disaster. It's an agony. I can use all the words in the dictionary, but we all know what it is. So we certainly need to get out of it. So having said that, we should recognize the role played by the private universities such as SLIIT, So certainly it has to change. So two things, one is educational reforms to for the children to be able to use their natural talent, where their passion is, where their strength is, and putting that on a faster track so that they can start performing at an early age, which would at the end create economic value for the country through which.
That, Mr. Gomes, I think that idea, I mean, you embracing that idea is of course, it's a great initiative if that can be implemented.
Welcome to SparkX, a platform that will groom you to have a leading edge over other IT students. We built this to give you the real skills to make you a superhero, actually a super talent. Being up on the game is really important, and that's why we researched what skills are really required by the IT industry. You will be surprised. It's not pure technical skills, but a combination of specific technical skills and soft skills that we offer, which no program out there in Sri Lanka teaches you. If you master these skills, you'll be assured a job in a leading IT company or the support to start your entrepreneurship journey. And that is why I teamed up with the best people to help you. Through a pre-selection process, candidates will be given the opportunity of a personalized mentorship with SparkX. The program is 6 months long and can be followed part-time while you study. Dedicated mentors with domain experts will connect you through live online learning and face-to-face boot camps.
Now, I don't know whether you will agree on this statement that I'm going to bring. Democracy, for me, democracy would work when law enforcement is very accurate. When law enforcement is not that accurate, dictatorship will work. Now, I would like to give you an example for this. Now, if you take in Canada recently, there were COVID restrictions. All the premiers are the head of provinces. They ask people stay at home, do social distancing. And in the province of Ontario, in Canada, there was the finance minister who told everyone through the media saying stay at home, but this guy has gone on vacation and he got caught. And you know what happened?
Right.
He had to give resignation. Just one,
Right.
It was just one call from the premier, he gave resignation, and
Right.
that was it. Now,
Right.
if it happened in Sri Lanka, there will be millions and millions of reasons as to why they would justify that. So I don't think law enforcement is properly done in Sri Lanka with the examples you told. So do you agree if democracy is to prevail, law enforcement, under a law enforcement, democracy will prevail. But if the law enforcement is not properly done, dictatorship is better. What do you think about that, Mr. Gomes?
Okay, no, great proposition that you presented, Hannibal, and I totally agree. But I would add one thing more. Law and order is critical, and without law and order, if you have democracy, it can be a disaster, and we face that disaster more like on a daily basis. But people have to be educated as well, right? If people are not educated, even if you have law enforced, right laws, and they are enforced effectively without any lapses, you will still have wrong decisions being made, because you will still have wrong people going to the parliament, right? So education is one, but the issue is you can educate people, but when you are poor, you need to fix your problems in the short term. So when you have this level of poverty, when you have to work hard to find your next meal, even though you are educated, you cannot make decisions for the future compromising on what I need to have today. So it's a very complex thing, right? So it's a journey that we have to get on to, where we will educate people. With education, people will be able to earn something bigger, better, so that the level of poverty will get reduced. You add law enforcement to it, and law amendments, reforms have to be done in the first place, because we have laws that are as old as 200 years. For example, some penalties, you go rob, not an actual example, but there are similar examples which I can't recall at the moment. You can rob 10 million rupees, your penalty would be 5 rupees, right? So there are situations like that. So those have to be fixed. So aligning the law in line with today's demand, and then enforcing it. So all those factors have to come in. Then democracy can work, not otherwise.
Brilliant point. Okay, I'm going to divert your attention to a quote you have mentioned. This is what I got from the web. Maybe you could just tell me whether it's accurate, and then I can ask the question. Says, in order to win in any game which you lay your hands on, you have got to compete, and to compete, you have got to have the right attitude. Can I get your confirmation that you said this?
Yes, I said it.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've
said it I have said it million times.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask a question on this. Now, if you look at people who have been successful, for example, if you take someone like Jeff Bezos of Amazon, very successful guy. He's spreading his company all over. Now you got Amazon Fresh, which is a supermarket, digitally equipped, and it's spreading, right? But my question, Mr. Gomes, is at what cost? Right, this guy is becoming a multi-millionaire at what cost? I mean, as a lecturer here in Canada, as I said, they call us professor. I teach a subject called OB, Organization Behavior, and in that assignment, I give them, for my students, they have to do an assignment on issues employees face at their workplace, and 9 out of 10 times students would select Amazon, simply because the way they treat, and I have seen it to my eyes. Some people protest. It's a very bad, it's a toxic culture to work. You're not being paid. If you get hurt, you're being treated like animals. And like if you have a back pain, they would say, just take this medicine, do your shift. If not, you won't be paid. So of course, you need to have the right attitude. But what do you think about ethics and governance and stuff like that? And actually, what is your opinion about employees treating their employees so bad, just for their own betterment? I mean, you would see Jeff Bezos coming and saying, "We have the best working culture. We do this for our employees." But is it really the case? There is a big question mark. I just want your opinion on that. What do you think, Mr. Gomes?
Okay, so two independent things you mentioned. One, you asked me if I made that statement. I said yes. Your question is of different nature, so I'll answer the second part of the whole presentation first. No, that's the worst thing a business leader should do. Because finally, all what we do today are for the people, for the mankind, is for others finally. And if one is not practicing, that fundamental human value, then that person should be shot, right? I can be very direct on that. And so I have worked for US multinationals for 33 years, you know it very well. 22 years for Chevron. Chevron is present in Canada in a big way. Chevron has policies. Chevron has written down and well communicated values, and in that value system, you can't do what you just described. If you do that, there will always be a process an employee can go through and seek damages. Broadly put across. So you talked about someone having a pain and the employer would tell you to take a pill and continue to work. Chevron would never ever do that. You are actually supposed to foresee any such issues by way of ergonomic audits being performed, self-audits, plus you would have a colleague in your team who would do that audit and give you his or her feedback, and you're supposed to use that and report that to your immediate supervisor, and then the immediate supervisor has to escalate it depending on the nature of the issue, and it will be responded to. So good organizations, respected organizations, have those policies in place, and law is very, very strong, on that issue. So I don't know how Amazon is basically getting away with all these things, but surely the employees can challenge the organization and find solutions. But yes, so what organizations sometimes do is they, as you said, the CEO or the top guy would talk about all the nice things, flowery things, to paint a picture that his or her organization is the best, but they practice something totally different. So those have to be matched, and employees today have very strong rights, and employees can surely use those rights to change such organizations and such cultures. So employees need to be aware.
Nice. Yeah, and
So let's.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Let me. Can I cover the first part of the thing as well about competition? Yeah, I mean there is tremendous competition. We always say that if you are to be a better country, we need to grow our economy. Who can grow a country's economy is the workforce, right? So Sri Lanka has a population of I don't think Sri Lanka knows how much population, but the figure used is 21.5 million to 22 million. Let's assume that that is somewhat right. So we have, central bank would say we have 7.5 million people in the workforce, but my number there is 8.5, because I count people who are over 60 who have more energy than 20-year-old young guy would have. So as long as you have energy, your sharpness is perfect, and then your brain works beautifully, I would count them as valuable assets, and I would add that number to the workforce number as defined by the central bank. So it's the workforce that has to compete. So the workforce here has to compete against the workforce of the US, China, India. You can name many other countries. So they need to be trained to be able to take on that competition. for which you need to inculcate the right attitude. Um, Unfortunately, from our school days, our parents and our elders have said, තරඟ කරන්න එපා සහභාගී වීම තමයි හොඳම දේ ලෝකේ කරන්න පුළුවන් ලොකුම දේ සහභාගී වීම තරඟ කරලා දිනන්න ඕන නෑ. So this has been our downfall, this has been the disaster, there have been one factor or key factor that has led to the situation we are in today. So I'm saying compete against you, right, to be a stronger individual with greater knowledge, skills, talent, capacity, competence, and everything else you got to have. So if you want to be better, you got to look at your innate capacity and keep improving your knowledge that is current, knowledge that has commercial value, knowledge that is branded, knowledge that you can sell and fetch the right price. We go back to one of the questions you asked, which is a beautiful one, right? So knowledge and then skills. Knowledge without skills of no use, forget it. And I know you understand it very well, and your style is very different, and you go beyond just teaching the subject, I know. So we need that. And then you need to be creative, for which you got to inculcate that talent. Keep your eyes and ears open, look at a borderless world, think kind of in a fantasy, so that you will break all the barriers, and finally you fetch creativity out of the air, out of the atmosphere, and you be creative, and then your capacity without limiting to your core, going beyond your core, being that multi-talented, multifaceted individual, so that your mix will not be matched by anybody, or it will be hard for somebody to be able to come and match it. Yeah. And then your competence, your efficiency, your productivity, all of that. So that's what you do. So I mean, compete against you if you want to win, and that process will ensure that you'll be able to naturally beat the others, and when you win, share the benefit of your success with the loser, with others, right? And you have that attitude, you will not go wrong. Is not to demean anybody, not to belittle anybody, not to beat anybody, but to be a better contributor for yourself, for the others. You win always, all the time. Share the benefit of success with others, and that's what I do today, Hannibal, and that's the reason why I am on this line today.
That is very nice. I really like that part where you said, share your success with others. And I would like to talk about your role of being a CEO. Now, it's nice 3 letters to have on a business card, isn't it? CEO. And I am the CEO of this company. It's like when you walk somewhere and when you say hi and when you give your business card, it's so nice to say, so what do you do? Well, I'm the CEO. And it's better when you are a CEO of a blue chip company. Now, the thing that most of us don't understand is the effort and the responsibility and the level of sometimes the stress that a person has to go through being the CEO. In my books, as an accountant, you could be a CEO as far as you deliver results. Well, your top line and the bottom line increases, you're a good CEO. After 4-5 years, the very day your top line and bottom line declines, you're the worst CEO of all time. So that's I mean, I've never been a CEO, and it's not. I'm into education, but I always used to think, and I've associated many CEOs, where some people they handle it very well, but some they are successful. But then comes the question: at what cost? I just gave you that example of Elon Musk. He sleeps in his factory because he thinks working more hours is going to contribute in a massive way for his work performance. Now, if you look at his personal life of Elon Musk, well, he has several marriages. Some marriages were unsuccessful, and we really do not know like what is really going on. But we see the outer picture. Looks very nice. So I would like to ask some questions from you regarding the CEO's role that you have been in. Like, what were some hardships that you had to go through? How did you balance, these things with your family life, your career plans, maybe with your maybe religion, that your spiritual element of your life? Can you give us some concrete examples? Like, Trevin, for example, this happened when I was a CEO, and this is how I did. And I would like to hear that story from you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I had 1 hour, I would have, given a much better answer. But it's a short time that we have. So yes, what you described is the fact. CEOs have a tough life, and I always say that it's easy to get on top, but staying in top is harder. So I have 2 records in Sri Lanka, Hannibal, you know it, to be the youngest Sri Lankan to become the CEO of a truly multinational organization. And I also have the record of being the longest serving multinational CEO.
Nice.
So I became a CEO at the age of 35, and I held that position for 19 long years. And I guess the next best CEO would have probably been there for 6 years, because I mean, mostly you become a CEO when you pass 50 years, so obviously you can't anyway be there for more than 10 years. But anyway, so so how have I performed in that position? By the way, today I'm a group CEO, so it's when you add the word group to the 3 nice letters you just described, it increases your stress level. So there are 5 companies that I handle now. So one is an export company, BOI, and we do manufacturing for Hemas, we do contract manufacturing for Unilever, Farlane, and we are the ones who supply all these products to the hotels, with these little dinky shampoos and all that you find in hotels under their brand. Though it's their brand, those are manufactured by the company that I head. So no, just to tell you that when you are a group CEO, things get even more complex. But that was a multinational. This is today a local company, so therefore things are different. So you come under tremendous pressure by the shareholders when you are a blue chip company, which you know very well. You can give them the best return in terms of capital employed, in terms of dividend payout, in terms of all the KPIs. They will still want more. And you create a record. You do your best year, with greatest effort and doing everything perfectly. Next year, if your performance go down by 5%, you are a bad CEO. So it hurts you as well. So say for example, 1 year you increase your profit by 30%, and next year it comes down by 5%, and over the previous year you are still 25% better, the guys will cry, right? So so it really demotivates you. But when you get adjusted to that kind of environment, you don't feel them. As long as you know that you are performing and no one else would be able to do better than you, it gives you the inspiration you require. So you got to always do an external comparison. How are you faring versus your competition? How are you faring against the other blue chip companies? Because you know very well, Hannibal, when the economy is growing, you have a double-digit GDP growth, disposable income goes high, and your exchange rate is very favorable. You can obviously achieve better results. When those things, external factors get tightened, how much ever good you do, you get people to give their best, all of that. The end result can be slightly lower. These are the realities. So it is with that external comparison that you make that you can decide if you are doing well or otherwise. And you got to communicate that. When people say your profit is 5% down, you should have your explanation to silence them, right? So you need to know how you're performing. So that self-audit is important. So that is one aspect. The other issue is when you are a multinational, right? Again, you can create a record, and once you create a record, they don't take into account that you have created a record and set the business plan for you. They would always want 10% higher, 20% higher. If you have been growing at 20%, globally, maybe you're not thinking of any growth, but sustaining the same level. But the fact that Sri Lanka has grown by 20% over the years, the Sri Lankan business will get a business plan that is 30% more than your record performance, right? So how do you explain that? So you can't blame them because you try to milk the market, you try to get the maximum, and that's quite natural. So you got to basically understand how the world works and why they give you such targets. So they are again, you need to have your own analysis to prove the point that you've done your best. And so the only thing that you need to worry about and manage is if someone else can come and do your job better.
Yes, good point.
Then you should feel very bad. Other than that, don't feel bad about anything else, right? As long as you know that you're doing well, keep expanding your horizons, set your aim much higher than what you have accomplished in the past, tap into the innate capacity, keep creating new records for you to be able to maintain the brand you have built. And so just focus on that. You will always have the peace of mind, and you will still have the feeling of a successful individual, and that would give you the life you need. And when you have that state of mind, you enjoy your life no matter what others say.
I mean, thanks for that. And this is just these are one of your, I think this person that I'm going to mention would be, I think, surely a good friend of yours. I'm going to talk about a person that I admire the most, leading a company. That's Mr. Merrill Fernando of Dilma. I saw in one of his interviews where he says, there came a point in our business where we had to expand our business. And rather than investing in the business financially, we invested in our employees. We increased their pay. We look who our loyal employees are. We gave them good bonuses. And we selected the second option rather than invest in the business with regard to PPE. But we invested in our employees. And what we realized was that because we invested in our employees and we saw that we gave them a perception that they are more important to us, we were able to expand the business even much more than what we thought in the first option. So what do you think about this? Very, very few people would think, on investing on employees rather than, like, as you saw in many so-called multinationals. I would say not everyone is not like that, but they are looking at getting more hours to be worked, get higher number of work to be done, finish the shift with targets. What do you think about Mr. Merrill Fernando's formula?
No, I mean, when you are large, that's the only way you can grow business. Because as an individual, there is very little you can do. And there are many aspects. You have your production, you have your marketing, you have your finance, you have everything else in an organization. So as a business leader, the only way you can improve performance is by getting the people to perform. And for them to be able to perform, they need to be better employees, more capable employees. So you go to enable that entire process. So that's what you need to do. But having said that, Hannibal, it's important that you get the right people in. Right? You can't be in a situation where you get the wrong people, which puts pressure on you to make them right. Right? So it's getting right people, and it's easy to say, but getting right people is a very hard thing to do. With all the experience you have, you can make a blunder in recruiting people. Right? You can go through all the science in the world, the art and experience, but the moment you get the person on board, first day you will realize that you have made the worst mistake
emerge after that.
Yeah. So therefore, it's not an easy one. So therefore, you can use all the processes, all the systems, all the theories and principles in order to get the right people. And then, obviously, as an employer, you got to keep adding on to what the person has brought in. So that is very important, and every organization says it, but not many organizations practice it. That's the issue. So Mr. Merrill Fernando, being the man he is, he must have practiced it as well for Dilma to become the brand it had become, which is a great story for the country.
Correct. And we are coming towards the last few questions of our segment today, and looking at your journey, it's quite a remarkable journey, isn't it? Starting from school days to being the national 110-meter hurdles champion, to becoming a CEO at 35 years, and then I would also like to talk your experience as a as a celebrity. You showcase, you come as a judge, and I was fortunate enough to be in a competition that was Youth with Talent organized by ITN, and there were some really nice comments that you made about me, which I use even here in Canada before I perform at a corporate event or at a particular event. It's you that makes a comment about me, and when I show it at my workplace, they ask, who is this? I say he's a celebrity in Sri Lanka. Oh, right. Seems like this guy really likes you, Trevin. I said, and yeah, and looking at all that, Mr. Gomes, I mean, don't get offended if I ask this from you. Are you having plans to enter the political arena in Sri Lanka? What's your thought on that?
Okay, I will never ever get into politics. If I wanted to, I would have got into politics 20 years ago. And those who know me, those who follow me, know what I do, and I will continue to do that.
Nice.
So I take time to guide the younger generation, and I am doing various other things, and I just happen to mention that I am an advisory board member of SLIIT business faculty, and other than that, I'm actually on the boards of 3 other private universities as well. It's all voluntary work. trying to offer right education to the younger generation, and I guide the generation using what I have learned through my journey, telling them the book is wrong and book is obsolete. There are still certain things that are still current and valid and good, but most of it is obsolete. So therefore I tell them, don't follow the book, and this is what you need to follow, and just think about it. So that kind of politics is better than traditional politics are.
And I think that's a very smart move from you, being the person whom you are. So I come to the last question, and with this we wind up the session for today. This is from something that you said. Mr. Gomes says traveling out of the country is the last thing he would ever want to do during his leisure. So you said that you don't like to travel out of the country, and and I would like to extend an invitation. If you ever visit Canada, please, I would like to welcome you, and
Sure.
go on trips with you. But I was
Yeah.
wondering why do you don't like to go out of the country?
Okay, so I'll start with one part of what you just said. I have my best friend living in Canada, so I have a reason to visit Canada. And when I make plans, there will always be space in that plan to spend at least several hours with you, Hannibal,
Of course.
right? And let me go on record here once more. You talked about youth with talent, and some people probably may have thought that I was only trying to be a conventional judge by saying things, just for the camera. But I meant it, and I said that you are the best presenter I've come across in Sri Lanka. And I said you are the best communicator. And I said communication is not language, but something much broader than that. So I looked at all your verbal and non-verbal presentation, aspects, and including your attire, your visual, and I encourage those who are watching this to go online and type Hannibal the Magic Warrior and take a look at some of your presentations to see what presentation can do for you. The importance of presentation. And I must say that while the winners were someone else, the way you captivated the audience, the live audience and the TV audience, was amazing. And I don't think even the winners were able to be consistent in that, right? That I'm not to raise you or to put you up, but I said it for the benefit of these kids who are online now, Hannibal. So let's leave it at that. So the reason why I hate to travel is because I've traveled enough. And I've spent long hours, sometimes 20 hours, in a plane at over 33,000 feet, and cabin temperature of 13, 9, 12, less than 20 all the time. And I have had the fortune of flying business class most of the time, 99% of the time, but yet nothing like your own bed, so you still go through pain, and even if you are on your own bed, you got to keep rolling every half an hour, which you can't do when you're on a flight. So I've been tortured that way. So that's why I said that I love my country. Obviously, you migrated for good reasons, but I know for a fact that your heart is still here. So these are decisions one makes for good reasons. But yeah, I mean, being the man I am, with all the traveling I have done, seeing the value of living in your own country, I have no reason to travel. I would still like to travel with my family on leisure, but official traveling, you tell me, that's the last thing I would like to wholeheartedly undertake.
No, and first of all, I would really like to thank you for your compliments, and it was great to be performing in front of an elite panel, and as a person like you.
Comments from me. I remember telling you last time that I think you are the best communicator in Sri Lanka.
Thank you, sir.
Not in terms of language skills. To me, communication is not just language. Language is a medium you use to communicate, and there are a lot more aspects and elements that you add to communication, and you prove to the world once again what those are, right? Your style, right? How you sort of get the attention from the audience, how you keep it going, how you gather the momentum, how you influence the other person's, thinking, thought process, how you captivate an audience, how you effectively use one's body language in order to ensure that the listener is fully aligned with you, not allowing the listener to sort of go on the path she or he wants to be on, but getting the listener to go on the path you want that person to be on, right? That's communication. And you are an example to the rest of the magicians and other performers, who have come on stage to present their acts. And obviously, with all what I said, you should go to the pool. You have my vote.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, that would be on video, and those videos will be there forever, and it's going to cherish in my mind for a long time. And yeah, there are no words for me to thank you for that. So we
And can I make a request, please? If you can, just take this clip and give it publicity as well to inspire the younger generation, and post it so that when they type Hannibal, this clip will also be there, and they will now know. With that they'll know how I have justified it, which I didn't. I didn't get that opportunity during the series.
Yes, for sure, I'll do that, and I'm sure friends over here, they will get that they get done as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Gomes, for allocating time to have this chat. And before we conclude, I would like to ask you about your final remarks regarding this session and your experience of doing a podcast online. And I'm in Canada, you're in Sri Lanka. Thanks to the technology, we can do something like this, and we would like to wind up with that. What are your final remarks, Mr. Gomes?
No, firstly, let me thank the boys who got in touch with me and put this whole thing together. While we had a couple of teething issues at the beginning, rest has been pretty smooth. So hats off to the organizers and technical and non-technical people behind this effort. And at the moment they mentioned your name, Hannibal, I said yes. I only had to decide when at what time,
Okay.
Which went all right, I believe. And it was a very different discussion. The way we started off, if one thought that it was going to be another conventional interview, I realized just within the first 10 minutes that it isn't going to be anything conventional, but something extraordinary, something very different. So that's your contribution, Hannibal. And I must also state something here. You're now in Canada, and your English knowledge is one of the best. And living in Canada, you could have probably used an accent to show the people that you are now living in Canada. Even if you didn't go to Canada, you could have easily done it with the skill you have, but you didn't do that. You use very simple language in the right style, keeping the audience in mind. Right? So that alignment and that adjustment is something the younger generation here needs to understand. Who's your target audience? Who are you talking to? And therefore, what is the right tone, right style, right mix of words, and right speed, right rhythm, all of that. So in communication, that's very, very critical. So while you didn't say that, I'm saying it because it is an example to the younger generation. So please do learn from it. And I wanted to make it a point to highlight that. So other than that, on a personal note, so nice to see you.
Likewise.
And you're dressed like a Canadian though. And I am not because I still haven't started my official day, which I will do soon after we quit. So good seeing you, and wish you all the very best, and wish everyone who joined us to be a part of this very important engagement, and compete to succeed, compete against you, be successful, share that success or benefits of that success with the others. It's not about you winning as an individual. It's about making Sri Lanka win. You make Sri Lanka win, 21.5 million will have a better quality of life, and that should be your vision. And be passionate about that vision. Hard work cannot replace anything else. You got to work really hard, apply yourself, keep on expanding your horizons, gain more and more knowledge, go beyond your core, add skills to it, enhance your capacity on a daily basis, and be more competent so that there will be the right level of efficiency you would be able to achieve. With that, I am sure that you will win. The success will not be gifted to you. Success is something you go to chase and acquire. And I wish all of you a better tomorrow. Better tomorrow has to be created by you. Create it, enjoy it, and to that direction. God bless you all. Samata Teruvan Sarana.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Gomes. And it was so nice having you, as I said before, a person of your caliber, to even talk with you, share certain things with you, and to listen to your stories. Most importantly, it was actually a remarkable time for me. And thank you so much again, and hope to see you soon. And so it's time for us to say goodbye from Luminary. See you guys soon with a new episode. Take care and bye bye.
That's this week's episode of The Luminary. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.
SLIIT Global Education is established for students who are interested in venturing past the higher education opportunities in Sri Lanka to explore avenues in countries such as Australia, Canada, UK, USA, Germany, and France. They have a network of 30 plus universities that they collaborate with to provide students with the best learning and holistic university experience. You can also avail exclusive scholarship schemes, especially if you are a student or alumnus of SLIIT. SLIIT Global Education also provides exceptional academic counseling services for undergraduate and postgraduate students tailored to their requirements. They also offer expert visa guidance counseling services and pre-departure training to all their transfer students. If you're considering pursuing your higher education abroad, feel free to give their friendly team a buzz.
Welcome to SparkX, a platform that will groom you to have a leading edge over other IT students. We built this to give you the real skills to make you a superhero, actually a super talent. Being up on the game is really important, and that's why we researched what skills are really required by the IT industry. You will be surprised. It's not pure technical skills, but a combination of specific technical skills and soft skills that we offer, which no program out there in Sri Lanka teaches you. If you master these skills, you'll be assured a job in a leading IT company or the support to start your entrepreneurship journey. And that is why I teamed up with the best people to help you. Through a pre-selection process, candidates will be given the opportunity of a personalized mentorship with SparkX. The program is 6 months long and can be followed part-time while you study. Dedicated mentors with domain experts will connect you through live online learning and face-to-face boot camps.